Hello and welcome. So today we're going to be looking at RUCKUS Cloud, more specifically the switches on RUCKUS Cloud and what you can do. So from the dashboard, you can actually see we've got a map. We can see the venue, just like you normally would. We can also then see our networking devices. So we can see we've got 5 switches, 4 operational, and 1 is still in the setup phase. We can also see our traffic volume over 24, 7 or 30 days. We can see ingress, egress. We can look at specific switches or even just the top 5 switches, and we can have a nice breakdown of the traffic for each one. Really nice and easy to see, as well as actually seeing the PoE utilization per switch. Now, to add a switch to RUCKUS Cloud, it couldn't be simpler. We hit Add Networking Device, we click Switch, and we select our venue. Now, we can then see here, we can also add in our serial number. We can then choose our member. So if it's a member of a stack, we can add different members in that stack to that. Or if it's a standalone switch, we just select standalone switch. And when it onboards, it will automatically upgrade the firmware for you and apply any configuration that you have set up. Now, should you not have a brand new out-the-box switch and you've got an older switch that you wanted to add to RUCKUS Cloud, not to worry, it's not going to overwrite the configuration unless you tell it to do so. It will retain that information previously. You can then provide it a switch name, choose the firmware type between switch and router, and if you wish to do so, you can also make it be a DHCP client. And when you click create, it will then automatically add the switch to RUCKUS Cloud, and the switch will then look for RUCKUS Cloud and join it automatically. If we now go to networking devices, what we can then see is a long list of all of our switches. So again, we can add a switch, or we can add a stack from the top right section here, or we can actually start looking at the different switches. So if I was to look at the sitting room switch, I can see the ports, I can see the status, I can see this one's connected at 100 meg, it's currently got a phone connected to it, it's providing PoE, and then on port 7, I can see this is actually the uplink, because this is connecting to the loft switch, which is the master switch for this network. And if there's any floor plans, I can place a switch on a floor plan. So say you've got a switch in a network closet, or a closet that's hard to reach, or that's not really known about, you can actually put that on a map and then people can go, oh, that switch is in this location. And again, we can see our number of ports, number of clients, PoE output, and if there's any alarms. We click on more details, we'll actually see everything about the switch. So the IP assignment, whether it's been static or dynamically assigned, the model, the firmware version, the serial number, all those handy to view informational features, including the switch status down the bottom. So here we can see the memory utilization, we can see the traffic, we can filter between memory and CPU. You can see the CPU is quite low in this error. We can also see ingress and egress, as well as if there's any error trends, and we can plot that on this graph. Now, what's also really handy is whilst we can actually do configuration from the RUCKUS Cloud solutions by clicking on ports, selecting a port here, for example, and then we can edit this port. We can enable it, we can disable the PoE, we can set the specific PoE class. If we have VLANs enabled, we can customize the VLANs and assign them to the ports as well as, any LLDP QoS information we want to provide it, tags, access control lists, etc. It's all there ready to go. What's really handy is if we click on more actions, we can not only reboot the switch, but we can actually click on CLI session. And right now, I'm using a reverse SSH proxy. It does say telnet because that's the mechanism it uses, but it's actually an SSH session with a telnet encapsulation within that. And I can actually now view the output of this switch, and I can actually run any troubleshooting commands I would like to view. Now, again, this is all remote. I'm not on this switch. It's actually my MD's house. And apart from me typing in commands wrong, you can see I've got full access to the CLI. Moving along the top, we can then look at our clients, and we can actually click on each individual client. So here we can see this is actually a RUCKUS access point. We can see this one's a loft switch. We can see this is a phone. If I click on this MAC address here, it's actually going to give me the MAC address, device type, the status, the switch, and the venue it's connected to, as well as the port and the default VLAN ID. And I can export this information as well. If the switch is acting as a DHCP server, then we can also view the DHCP leases and pools. We can, of course, view any events and export all these events to a CSV file. There's also configuration management. So what we can actually do is we can compare and view two individual files. So if I compare these two backup files, I can see when they were created, and I can then see anything in yellow is the name where it's been changed. And that's where an engineer or someone else has made a change to the switch, and it's highlighting that to us. Now, what I can also do is I can actually restore this configuration. So if an engineer does make a mistake, you can restore the configuration. You can also download the configuration, which is downloaded as a text file. And you can see on this text file here is the output of the switch in plain, simple text, no hidden configuration files. What we can then also do is delete. We can view an individual configuration file as well if we wish to do so. And again, from our actions, we can compare to another download or delete. We then also have the ability to backup now. So we can click on backup now. It's going to create a configuration name. So I'm going to do that. And it's going to go away and poll. I've actually double clicked on that. So that's what has brought up the error. And you can see that it's now doing a backup in progress. I can also look at any history for the switch. So if I have ever done a restore, it will present itself here. And then we have troubleshooting where I can do remote ping. So 8.8.8, for example. I can run a trace route. I can even look at the MAC address table as well. So I'm just going to click on MAC address table. I want to do it by VLANs. And it's going to go and show that table, and it's refined by VLAN type. I could do it also by connected port, and it will then show me only the connected ports instead. What we can also do, so should you, for example, manually make a change in the CLI and it doesn't reflect instantly in Ruckus Cloud, you can just hit synchronize data. What that will then do is Ruckus Cloud will poll the switch and make it update instantaneously, so you have the latest configuration information in Ruckus Cloud. And that's only really applicable if you have done a manual CLI change and you want to see it instantaneously appear in the wizard. And you can see here that that is now syncing. So what else can we do? Well, as I said, we've got VLANs. We can see we've got a VLAN here, and we can add more. We can view the details. We've got access control lists. If there are any, they'd be listed here. We've got our panel, so what the switch actually looks like, which we showed earlier. But more importantly, say you've got a lot of switches to configure and you need to pre-stage them all at once. But what you can do is add a regular profile. So I'm just going to call this one test. I hit next. I add a VLAN, and I'm going to use VLAN 23 and give it a name of AP network. I'm going to add certain ports to it. So I'm going to add a 7550 switch. It's going to be a 2048ZP. I'm going to select the module 3 as well. I'm going to use the 2x40 gig ports. So I then hit next, and I would like all of these ports here to be untagged. And then I'd like my 2 uplinks to be, and you can see I can just drag over them, and that'll change which ones are tagged and untagged. So I then hit create. Perfect. I save that. I click next. If I want to add an access control list, I can do either a standard or an extended access control list. And as you can see, we can permit or deny. We can choose between the protocols, specific subnets. Really nice and simple to do. We then hit next and apply that to a venue. So I'm going to do it to our test network. I then hit next. I then hit create. This now means once it's created, any switch that hits this venue, and this venue is going to be the test venue, it will automatically apply that to the switch. So you can have hundreds of switches connecting to Ruckus Cloud and automatically assign the configuration that you want. But say, for example, you want to go a little bit further. Say you've actually gone to the effort of building your own CLI template, customizing the switch every nut and bolt that you want. Really simple. Add a CLI template. You do have to type in agree. You then hit next. And then you choose the CLI commands you wish to use. And you can use different variables. You can select all the different types of variables, such as address. And you can then add the variable type and make that address a known variable, start, end IP, variable name. You've also got CLI examples. So, example, the CLI banner. And as you can see, as I click on these, it automatically appends them to there, even right down to, routing with OSPF. We can also do the manager active list, VRFs, VRRP, VLAN information. So simple to do. We can actually customize it this way and type in the name. You can see we've actually got the name. It'll highlight what we need to change. Or if you really want to, import a file. You select import file, and then it'll ask you the file location, and you can import that configuration. You then apply it to the switches you'd like, and then select a summary, and then apply that summary. So, just like to thank you all for your time today for watching this video. That was a quick overview of what you can do with RUCKUS Cloud and RUCKUS switches. Have a great day.